Hey everyone, it's Lori from Lori J Journals. I'm gonna try to keep a tight, brief video here. I've been bordering on obsessed with making these scrappy clusters lately. It all started with altered paper clips or hidden paper clips. As you can see, these are paper clips. I've just really gotten into layering fabrics. I just love the texture and the shabbiness of piece on top of piece and all of these strings. These are all hidden paper clips that are up for sale in my Etsy shop. I'm not going to spend too much time talking about that. I posted some of these in a group, the Savage Art Journal group and Just Lane Junk Journal group, and a couple of people have been asking me for tutorials, so I thought I would throw one together. In true transparency, this is the third time I'm trying to record this video. I am a talker and a storyteller, and the last two came out way too long. So what I'm going to try to do is not do too much explaining beyond what I'm actually doing so that I can show you my process for making these. Real quick, I just want to show that you can use these for lots of other things. These are corner tucks that I created also in a challenge in the Savage Art group. And then recently, I decided to make some altered or, embellished glassine bags for using in junk journals. And I think these came out really cute too. And now, in addition to the layers of fabric, we have that yummy, crispy, crunchy sound of the glassine bags. So I'm going to set these aside for now and just take you on the journey as I create one of these. One of the first things I'm going to do is cover my messy underpaper so it's not a distraction for you while I'm creating. Really quick, what I have on hand, supplies-wise, I have a scissors. A very sharp one is important. I'll explain that in a minute. I use this Fisker spring-loaded one. I love it. I have 3 different kinds of glue. Use the kind that you like best. I use Fabri-Tac over 3-in-1 because where I live in Florida, this sticks, the other comes apart. I love this tacky glue. It's just super sticky and thick. It's similar to art glitter glue, but it's a little bit thicker, and it can go on a bigger area where, of course, the art glitter glue is great for details with the sharp point, very small additions. And that's about all. As far as kind of supplies, I always have a pile of neutrals. Right now, I know one person in particular was really asking where I get my fabrics from. I get them from a lot of different places, but never, I shouldn't say never. Usually I don't buy them by the yard or anything like that at fabric stores. I have 3 major sources. So the first is old clothes. You can see this is a pattern. It's a shirt that I absolutely loved, but unfortunately my well-meaning husband ran it through the dryer and it shrunk. I could no longer wear it. That's where I get a lot of my torn up scraps from, is pieces of clothing that I can no longer wear from me and other family members. And it could be a fit issue. It could be that one small part got stained, but the rest of the fabric is beloved. I have some fabric like this from a shirt that I loved, and it's really soft and shabby, and I love the colors, but I could no longer wear the shirt, so I tore it up. That's the number one place I get my shabby fabric, is clothes. Lots of denim. So I have denim. I also get from scraps. So if you go to thrift stores or not craft shops, but like used Goodwill and what's the word? Like flea market-y market shops. I've been to an antique one, vintage one. And in North Carolina, where my sister works, I know there's this great store called the Scrap Exchange. And it was like, fill a sack with as many as you can fit in of this big giant bin of fabric scraps for a couple of bucks. those are the best places to get these pieces of fabric, because usually you're scrapping, right? These are scraps. I'm not talking about full yard pieces or like the Tim Holtz fabric that we buy to cover a complete journal. So neutrals are very important. They become part of the layering process. And then I also have, and I'll share with you here, a big fabric bowl. This is just pieces that have come off while I was working on bigger projects, okay? And then finally, I have the itty bitty scraps, and these are the little bits and pieces that come off even the smaller pieces, and I love them for layering and embellishments, and of course these small projects like the clusters. Okay. One other place that I get my fabrics is from my mother-in-law, who is an avid quilter. And what she gives me semi-regularly are what she calls crumbs. And I hope this works on screen. I don't know if it will. But this is a giant bag of all different pieces of scraps that she cuts away as she's making a quilt. Okay, if you're a quilter, I highly recommend you check out Piney Patch on Etsy. She's a wonderful quilter. And then again, old pieces of things you have laying around. So without further ado, let's get started. I want to try to take you through full process without taking up more than 15 or 20 minutes. I always like to start with something a little puffy, so that you get texture right off the bat. This, again, a piece of a shirt or a skirt, I don't even really remember, but anything that's white and you can no longer wear is great for layering in projects. And if you look, this is really gauzy, and that's what gives it that kind of puffiness. I'm going to cut it down a little bit. It's a little bit too big. And probably one of the most important things in getting this kind of shabby look with your fabrics is not cutting in the traditional sense. So this is why it's important to have a sharp scissors. I poke through and I just drag my scissors through until I can tear. And that's what helps give you these really shabby edges. This one is still a little bit too big and a little bit too square. So I'm going to try to kind of drag my scissors through again at an angle. See if I can get some irregularity. And that's what I love. Not looking for exact shapes because, again, we are going to layer fabric. And I want pieces to hang out and to provide irregular shape and texture. All right, so I've got a piece to start. Next is you might be thinking that you're going with a specific color scheme, and if you are because you have certain pieces of fabric, go for it. I tend to kind of sit down, and unless I need a specific color for a specific project, I just start looking at the pieces I have in my bowl. Right now, if you've been kind of seeing some of the ones I've been making, I have a lot of this kind of fabric that I've torn away from two different scarves that I have that I wasn't wearing. One is in blues. You can see some of it here. And some of it's in this pink. And that's what I have right in front of me right now. So that's what I'm going to use. I'm going to go with, actually, I'm going to see if I have a piece of the blue one hanging around. And I don't think I do. Okay. Kind of wanted to work with blues today, but I don't think that's happening. Okay, so we will work with pink. All right, so again, big piece. I don't want the entire thing. I'm going to drag my scissors through. There is no rhyme or reason to this. That's how you get them beautifully shabby, is when you just go with it. You can always cut again, and you can always fold in half for extra texture. This is kind of cool. looking for more pieces in my bowl off here that might look good with this pink. I have a pull away piece of some Tim Holtz fabric from a project I was working on. Ooh, this one has some pink in it. I think I like this. Might use some of this. And again, these are scraps. So otherwise thrown away or just put in your scrap bowl, which is what I do. And that way, you know, if you're tearing and pulling and it doesn't really come out the way you want, you don't have to feel bad about it. Several of the mixed media artists I follow use the phrase, and I love it, is don't be precious, right? Just go with it. Over planning sometimes doesn't work. So I think I like that together. I'm not committing yet because I'm looking for other things. This is a really pretty piece of satin ribbon. It had that wire in the edges, but I took it out of this piece because I wanted to be able to use it for projects like tearing like this. Satin doesn't get the same shabbiness that some other fabrics do, and it's hard to tear, especially when you're going against the threads. I think I like this piece. And you see, you know, this is going straight across and it's pretty square, so I'm trying to kind of off-center it because I'm not looking for exact shapes. You can see in all my other pieces, I really don't want it to be an exact shape. Some of the beauty of the shabby is that it's not. Here's some cheesecloth, which is fantastic for layering and for shabbiness. I'm gonna add some of this, I think, underneath. I'm feeling like I need some texture underneath. And you can see this is absolutely not an exact thing. It's a go with what your eye likes. Sometimes I pick things up, I put them back down, and even when I go to either stitch or glue, sometimes I find that I move things again because as I'm layering, I'm like, oh, this looks better in this direction. And honestly, I really want this even poofier. Let's see. I think I'm going to use some more of this gauzy material. I have a lot of it. As I mentioned, it's an old garment. I can't remember what, but I tore it up into pieces and I put it all in a bag. I try to keep, you can see I have like neutrals. I try to keep some things sectioned off so that when I want access, I have easy access when I'm looking for it. Yeah, see. You see how it's building up. It's getting poofier and poofier. These that I did got a little flattened. I created the clusters while I was on a camping trip. So all I had with me was glue and the scrap pile. And so in order to get them home safe, I put them inside of one of my mixed media paper pads and they got a little bit flattened. I'm waiting for them to poof back out again, but I think I'm starting to like the way this one's coming together. The big pieces, the background pieces are there. I just need to start layering on some of these small pieces and decide how I want to embellish. Now, this background piece has writing on it. So I'm going to have a little bit of a harder time if I want to put a word on it But I'm going to try. I have this beautiful but dwindling collection of words from Arlene at Creating in the Waiting and Savage Art Group. And I have, these are just straight fabric that were, that can be used for layering. And these are beautiful clusters that she creates that I ordered from her. These tend to be a little bit too big for the clusters that I'm making. I use these for other projects, but the words I just love. And I have to be honest, I took one out today specifically. I don't normally do this. I usually go by the seat of my pants, but I got the idea for these clusters a couple of weeks ago when Arlene on Savage Art was making altered paper clips. She was doing a video for a challenge for the journal group, and that was the first time I ever created an altered paper clip. And rather than a hidden paper clip, and rather than using papers, I started using fabrics because I had this huge pile on my desk. And that's where I got the idea to start making these, and they've taken off and people have asked, and I've sold some on my Etsy shop. So I thought, in honor of Arlene and her challenge that gave me the idea to do these, I would use the word savage, which I have here. So I think this is going to work. I just have to decide if I want to put something else there first. So I do have some of this real scrappy canvas. You know, I love the layering of this. I just wonder if it's worth it to have this piece if I'm going to cover it up. And I don't want to be too precious. As I said, I've learned, but I also don't want to cover up. Okay, there, maybe if we tilt it. I love the rosy pink on this, and I don't want to lose that. I also had that scrap of Tim Holtz that I pulled. I'm going to see if it looks good. I might take it out. Might be too busy. But again, you just play and go with it. I actually like it. I love the texture, the kind of shades of different colors that go in here. And then what I will eventually do is maybe put an additional embellishment. On a lot of them, I do that. I'll put a decorative brad or a button or a stone or a flower or something. But for now, I think I really love this. And for ease, because there's a lot of layers here, I'm going to take the word off and I'm going to go to the side here and I am going to stitch this all together so that I don't have to worry about getting the layers right back where I wanted them. And I apologize that my sewing machine is off camera, but you'll be able to hear me stitch. Okay, and I don't know if you'll be able to see the stitching on camera. I have very pale pink in my sewing machine right now. I'm working on a journal for an April giveaway, or not a giveaway, but a raffle. And so I'll show you anyway, kind of, let's see if I can get in focus here. You may not be able to see this, but what I love to do is put a zigzag stitch and then hit reverse and go back to a straight stitch. And you get the zigzag with the straight line through it. I just think it's fun. I don't know if it's going to show when I get the word on, but in case it does. How cute is that? I love this. And I feel like I could have stitched through the whole thing there's enough room under Savage. And I think I'm going to do that. So I'll be right back one more time. Sorry about that. I really do love this. You can still see the pink satin down here. You can see some of the Tim Holtz fabric coming out both ends. It's nice and fluffy. You can see the stitching in here a little bit with the pale pink. I'm really happy with this one. What I would do now is probably turn it into an altered or a hidden paper clip. I've been doing this in 2 different ways just to share my method. I'm not gonna go all the way through with this because I'm not 100% sure whether I'm gonna do a paper clip or just leave it as a cluster, but I want you to be able to see how I make the paper clip. So what I've been doing is, in order to create kind of, and this one actually looks pretty on the back. This doesn't bother me. It's very soft. But some of them get really scrappy in the back and they don't have a good look. So I've been using 2 different methods. I have this canvas paper, which is really nice because it looks nice on the outside, and on the inside, it's, I don't know if I think it's adhesive that's stuck there, but it makes for really nice, it has the structure of paper, but it gives a nice kind of clean look to the back. And you can even shape it if you wanted to, like it was really important to you on the back. And I've been using denim scraps. I have so much denim. I've been cutting all of these scraps away and just keeping them to back these things. And sometimes I have to trim them, and that's okay. I kind of look through my pile and see which one is the right shape. And all of these are a little bit too big. So wait, maybe. And here's the thing. Sometimes it's fun to let the shabbiness of the denim come through. And sometimes you don't want it. So if you like it down there at the bottom, it adds a little peak of blue. You could leave it, or you could just cut away. And again, I'll show you my method really quick. Be very careful. I have cut my finger before, but poke your scissors in and pull it through and then tear. And sometimes you'll have to poke through again, and that's okay. And look at this awesome piece of scrap that will now go in the pile for another project. Okay, so finishing up, here's what we would do. And it would work the same if you use this piece or if you use the denim. And I forgot to take out the paper clip. Isn't that funny? I'm making, all right. So I buy these, I love these paper clips. They come in a package of pink, purple, teal, and blue, and gold. And that way you have kind of all different kinds. And they barely show, but it's still fun if you are going to make a hidden paper clip for the part that's sticking out to match your design. So 2 different ways I do this. If I'm using this, I always put the small side inside. I leave the big part exposed so that you have flexibility of hanging on a heavier or bigger page once the paper clip is complete. But the way I would do this, and you know what, just for now, I'm going to use gold because I have more of them. I want to keep my supply of pink ones, and we're doing this just to show you how I do it. So the small side goes inside, big side outside. And initially I was putting them all the way down like this, and then I think it was Arlene I actually saw had a little bit exposed, and I thought that was really cute. So I've been leaving a little peep at the top. I take my tacky glue, lots of glue in the middle, because that's where you really want to hold it down, and all the way around the outside. And I do not skimp on glue here because we want this to stay together. And then fold it in half and up like this. Really smush that glue in the middle. Make sure it's really solid. And then glue this on here. Now, alternatively, and I have done this, but again, another step for on camera, so I did not do this time, is if I wanted to, rather than glue, in fact, I've done this a lot and I think it works better, keeps it secure. Instead of gluing this on before I even put the paper clip in, sometimes I'll sew the cluster right on. And that way you don't have to glue it on. All you're doing is gluing your paper clip in. I hope that makes sense. Okay. And then here's how I would do the denim. Just either, whoops, I need the paper clip. Okay. So here's the thing. If you like it really soft and airy, just glue right from the denim to the cluster. If you feel like you need structure, you want it to be a little bit more stiff in the back, then you can sew a piece of scrappy paper here, or glue, either one. You can glue or sew depending on what you like. And I'm sorry I'm not going to do this because I don't want it to take so much time, but you would either sew or glue this on and then put your paper clip inside here. Right? And it would go like this. So let me just go through that again because that probably wasn't clear. You can sew or glue this, right? You have your denim. And then attach it to there. And again, you don't really need both these layers. It's really only if you need structure. So you're really just creating another layer so that the paper, so that the cluster has more structure if you feel like you want it to have a stiffer feel when it's up against the page. I started doing it that way and then I've gotten away from it. I think it's kind of fun when they're soft. And this little panel of denim, you know, denim is a sturdy fabric, so it kind of creates a little bit more structure. And of course I did it backwards. It actually goes this way. Okay. And then you can sew or glue this on, whatever your choice is. And then you've got your altered paper clip. So I hope that shares. I know that was kind of scattered and a little. Listen, that's the way I create. So I tried to just take you through the process rather than over explain everything, so that you could see how I do it. I didn't want the video to be too long. It's already a little bit longer than what I had planned, but still not an hour like my previous one. So I hope you enjoyed the video.